Hello there, vlog, and welcome to day number 25 in the 30-day Green Juice Challenge, where that has developed into a morning routine, which I'm really happy about. Something I want to keep improving, developing, because it's so important to start the day off right, and yeah, just really happy about it. I want to invite you today to check out my Friday is Right Day post from yesterday. I write about how we attract who we are. We attract situations and people into our lives based on who we are, and we have to take full responsibility for that because it comes in all shapes and forms, and the outside is the mirror of the inside. So I encourage you to check that out, and then hopefully you want to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and a lot of content has been put the last couple of episodes. So thank you, and I hope you will have. Hello there, vlog, and welcome to the DailyG number 37. Today I am gonna go into the 6 mental faculties, and those faculties are really important to understand our, I guess you can call it a human foundation, or the capabilities that we actually have as human beings. And if you haven't watched the last 3 videos, I really highly recommend going back and watching them, because otherwise this might not make so much sense. But these 6 mental faculties, I'm just gonna go straight into it, and yes, and the first one I've already written down, it's called reason. This is our ability to think, to contemplate on certain things. We can measure what is this like, how, and make sort of sense of things. And we can also build upon ideas. We can grow an idea. We can, if we have one idea, we can grow it into more. We can weigh it and say, hey, will this work or not? We can really think about things and make sense of them. And it's basically how we sense our environment. It's basically how we make sense of things. And we can measure of, does this make sense? And it goes very much with this, the main conscious ability that we have, that we can reject and accept anything we want into our lives. So it's really about thinking, being aware of what is it that is actually happening, and measure it, and sort of you can call it critique, point of view, thinking. Critically being like, what is this? Asking yourself questions and weighing, options and so on. So that's the first one, reason. The second one is the will. Yeah, what is the will? The will. The will to do something. Being persistent to do something, to always keep going. And one of the examples that I can give is that it basically relates to concentration. Concentration is the way we can stay conscious or focused or be attentive to a conversation, to anything. It could be like homework, if you have homework in school. It could be if you're listening to a speaker, in a conversation. How well are you actually being there? How much are you actually being present? I have this, my own thing is that I often just space out, and then after 20 seconds I'm like, oh, okay, what were you saying? And that's really, first of all, it's not very polite. And you also miss something, and you actually waste somebody else's time because you're not listening, being there. And it's also something you can really improve. The way you can improve that is to really practice staying focused and being concentrated. One of the ways you can do that is to light a candle. You can then focus on the flame. Look at the flame, focus on it, and whenever, because of course the practice is to become better at it. And when you experience that your focus is being taken away, don't worry about it, just come back and focus on it. And the more you do that with a certain object or certain thing, and you can see you can do it with anything. It doesn't have to be a flame. It could be with anything, but it's really like practicing that state of focus, state of concentration. And it's really important when you want to create something, if you want to develop something, that you can stay focused and concentrated and aware, being present. It's really important for anything you want to create or develop, or anything you want in your life with anybody. So that's a really important concept, and that's our second mental faculty. The third one is called imagination. Imagination. There's nothing greater than knowledge than imagination, said Einstein, something like that. But imagination can take us anywhere. Imagination has no limits at all. Like if either you remember when you were a kid or when you see kids play, there's just no limits to what they can imagine any simple object to be. And this is also really important when it comes to creating an image for your life or for any goal that you might have, that you can actually imagine anything you want. Your life has no limits. And it's like, yeah, you can quickly find limits. Yeah, you can't, jump one time to the moon, or it depends on how you look at everything, right? But the fact of the matter is that as long as you imagine anything, it can become real. I think that's actually what Picasso said. If you can imagine it, it's real. And it's really important because if you can imagine your life, say when I use my imagination these days, I'm really focusing on what do I actually want? Where do I want to live? And my imagination, I'm living close to a beach. I'm living close to mountains. I'm living in a sustainable home. I'm living with my husky dog, with a beautiful woman in my life, and that's sort of my imagination. Like, how do I want that to look like? And that's what I'm shooting for, and that's how I use my imagination. And it's very important to just let your imagination go, because the beautiful part about that is that it doesn't have to. It's nothing about being right or wrong. It's just a matter of sparking that fire inside of us. What is actually possible and what makes sense for me? And just imagine all kinds of scenarios that can happen in your life, and for all the goals or all the things that you want to experience in your life, because it will help you to actually become closer to what it is that you actually want. So imagination is such a powerful tool, and might be one of the most important ones of these six, even though they're all really important. It's just that's the way creation starts. Artists. How can you write a book if you don't have imagination? How can you even live if you don't have imagination? You have to go beyond where you are to go to new places, right? So it's just really important. And I could talk about that for a long time, but I think you get the message, more or less. The next one is called intuition. Intuition. It's also called our sixth sense. It's basically where we intuitively have a sense of something, either in a conversation, it could be anything. An example could be if you've ever walked into a room and you sense like what is wrong here. There's some kind of energy that is just not present or pleasant. Maybe there could have been an argument with a couple of family members, and you walk into a room and it's like you almost see the dark energy with your intuition. And intuition goes with everything. I just have a note here. That's basically the main example that I think I can give in terms of our intuition. And I also think when we have conversations with people, we can actually be intuitive in terms of what the person actually is saying. I've been experiencing that tons of times when I've been to workshops and conferences and so on. It's like, and when you're speaking with like-minded people, usually I have a really good friend here in Switzerland, and often we don't have to. We speak, but it could be the same as if we were just thinking. We just kind of know each other well, or we are just on this frequency where the words doesn't matter. We just sort of understand, intuitively what we are trying to explain to one another, or trying to say, and that's, I think we all know what that's like. So that's our on this list fourth. There's no 1, 2, or 3, or 4, no list here of importance, but it's the fourth one that I will talk about here. The fifth is perception. It's also called our point, or it can be called our point of view. And that goes also very well with our conscious mind and our thinking. It's basically, challenging ourselves to look at things from another point of view. We have an ability to, whenever anything happens in our life with other people, in conversations, discussions, through the news, whatever else. I mean, I focus a lot on myself with understanding uniqueness. To understand uniqueness or whatever, you need to really use your perceptive abilities to actually look from another person's perspective and see what is it that he actually means. Why react and go crazy and start kind of a fight? I mean, what is it that this person actually means? Where does that person even come from? Does he have another set of values than I do? Is his culture or is his anything different from mine that makes his view this way? It's basically being able to sort of be an eagle, fly up like an eagle and sort of look at different circumstances and being aware of, what is it that actually is happening here, and know that there is actually, you have an ability to take a step outside of, fight and flight mode and action and reaction, and sort of just question and see what is it actually happening here, and look at it from other point of views. There's something called world work, and it's something about role playing and actually being someone else in a role. And that's what actors do, right? I mean, it's basically being able to step into another role, step into another point of view, to experience that and to get an idea of, there is somebody else that can think differently than you. So that's really important, and we have an ability to become better at that. The last one is memory. Memory. We have an ability to be able to remember, and then everybody says, I don't have a strong memory or something of that nature. But the thing is that it's like in the last video, it's all about repetition. I mean, you can take a deck of cards, 52 cards, and if you keep practicing, shuffle the cards, and then you put one down until there's 52, and then start to practice memorizing all 52 cards. Yes, it will be very difficult in the beginning. You might remember 1, 2, or 3, and you can maybe remember 5 or 10 after a week or two or something, or then after a few months, maybe you can remember the whole deck of cards after you have shuffled it once. There's no limits here either. It's a matter of practicing and practicing your memory. And it's really important, because if you have a strong memory, you don't have to spend so much energy on memorizing things. But that's also, it comes down to also, when we experience things as human beings, the more experiences you get into, it sits in your body, so that remembers for you. But memory is also something you can really practice. So there's a book called The Memory Book, and you can basically help you to teach you to get better at remembering numbers, names, and many other things. So that could be a value, perhaps. I want to conclude these 6 with that it all starts again here with our conscious mind. All these 6, we have an ability to accept these ideas, and it's repetition of being aware of this and doing it over and over again, and being aware of this over and over again for a long period of time, until these become more sort of ingrained within ourselves, so that we become habitual when it comes to having a greater memory, actually, and having a better will, and staying focused for longer periods of time, being more creative, without any limits or limited thoughts, because we understand that we just have to believe that we are these things over a period of time, until that becomes habitual. Because don't worry about habits, worry about the habits that are not good for you, and create the habits that are good for you, positive and constructive for you. And it happens by starting here, repeating the good ones, and eventually that will become part of you. And those emotions and that's happening here in your behavior, that will produce the similar positive results. So with that, I think that was a long video. I hope you got something out of it, and please contact me if you want more information and want me to teach you a bit more in depth, one-to-one about this. If you, I think maybe I'll continue to go through my tools in my book, which is these are one of the 3 main tools in the book. We'll see if I'll do another one or 2 with this one, but we'll see. But I look forward to share more, and I hope you want to follow along. So this is the main DailyG. I might do some DJing later. I don't know if I will show you, but if I do, then you will see that. So for now, be well, subscribe, and I look forward to share more later on.